Hey, so right away, the big detail here is that I was definitely onto something Reed, Johnny, and Sue all shared on their arms, especially in that magazine image of Sue as the head of the Future Foundation. Indeed, these are not watches, but rather threat detection devices of some kind. In this promo, they edited it to make it seem like their devices say, "Alert, game time," because this promo was for ESPN's showing of the NBA Western Conference Finals this week. ESPN and Marvel Studios share a parent company in Disney, so, Bob Iger can just make them do this. But in the context of the scene, Reed, Sue, Johnny, and Ben are all appearing on the Ted Gilbert Show, and in
putting this all together, it seems like Johnny flames on and flies away while the other three get into the fantastic car and fly after him. Actor Mark Gatiss plays TV host Ted Gilbert in this movie, and he is a host based on Ed Sullivan in Our World, who actually hosted the Beatles on his show in 1963 in a set that looked a lot like this one does. Actually, there was an inside joke here that I missed in my past coverage by making Ted Gilbert the variant of Ed Sullivan in this alternate universe. They kind of have a joke here, because Ted and Ed
references on The Simpsons and shows written by Aaron Sorkin. Really, without Gilbert and Sullivan, we never would have had Broadway. And operating with the Lopez's in WandaVision, and the Lopez's are right up there in the year 1965. I'm just expecting their origin date to have been in 1961, as it was in the comics. So don't think Marvel Studios is going to be that messy to completely undo their own world building by just pretending that Kang never existed. Really, I just think they're going to write into Rogue, and Nathaniel Richards will just be alluded to in vague ways in conversations around Franklin Richards, the Richards bloodline, and how each successive Richards will be a greater and greater mind, but potentially a greater and greater threat. His distant ancestor, Reed Richards, in this alternate universe in the early 1960s. All genius scientists stand on the shoulders of those who came before. Oppenheimer stood on Albert Einstein's shoulders. Tony Stark stood on the shoulders of Howard Stark. Genius is something we inherit from the past generations. Drawing this link between Nathaniel and Council of Reeds, something this new First Steps movie seems to be hinting at him doing, Reed's descendant Nathaniel will start with all of his variants in a peaceful way, but soon after fall into all-out war. And I think my favorite brilliant harmony with the design aesthetic of the TVA.
Who is really on the Fantastic Four ship that arrives to Earth from an alternate dimension in the Thunderbolts/New Avengers post-credit scene? It has now been over a week, and Marvel Studios indicated the spoiler window lifted just like 4 days after the release. It is a bigger question than I think we initially realized. Our assumption was that the space crisis mentioned by Yelena was some kind of rift in reality, and the Fantastic Four are leaving their reality after their Earth was destroyed. By saying that I do think it is the Fantastic Four on this ship, the ones played by Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Ebon Moss-Backrack in the upcoming Fantastic Four First Steps film. It's not some other variant Fantastic Four or anything like that, or like a 616 universe Fantastic Four returning to Earth, because Marvel Studios cannot afford to screw around with our expectations anymore, and they just need to get to these character groupings intermixing. The Fantastic Four are not the only people on this ship, and those additional passengers are whom I'm going to spend this video making the New Avengers new A logo. And Bucky says that he tried to talk to Sam, but it went poorly. Bob is with the New Avengers, but he refuses to power up in a Sentry because it would mean unleashing the Void again, but he is reading self-help books and doing the dishes. I speculated that it's because the New Avengers will not turn over Bob. That mentions a space crisis that Sam Wilson's Avengers are not talking to them about, and their satellite brings up images of what the computer's voice calls an extra-dimensional ship entering their atmosphere. They shot it on the Avengers Doomsday set in London, and this new Avengers HQ will be one of the sets the Russos are shooting on. The ship that faces the exploding planet has 3 tail fins. The extra-dimensional ship that we see in the Thunderbolts post-credit scene clearly has 4. It's a different ship. Actually, I think by having this ship roll, in addition to revealing the 4 logo, it was also their way of showing the other Avengers returned from the time heist with variant Infinity Stones, or when Avengers Compound was destroyed by a Nebula and a Thanos from a branch timeline in the multiverse. To me, this is just another clue that Tony Stark, before he died, must have done more research in the multiverse than we realized. Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom as part of their mysterious new mask, same task, big idea. I think Dr. Doom has connected with the 616 Tony Stark at some point for Avengers Doomsday, but I really don't think Marvel Studios cares the events of Captain America Brave New World, a movie that was confirmed to be set actually going to be 2029. Now, why is 2029 important? Well, 2029 is the established year, the death of its anchor being. And that OG cast returns in Avengers Doomsday sometime in the years between 2024 and 2029. Logan film, which was set in 2029. Wilson travels laterally from 100. The reason Marvel Studios is okay showing the Fantastic Four arriving to the 616 Earth and the Thunderbolts post-credit scene before we know how Fantastic Four First Steps ends is that the surprise is by Galactus, like they're leaving by using the ultimate nullifier to scare him for First Steps, but I don't think we're gonna get the full answer for another